Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm a fourth year law student at Universiti Malaya, and I also play guitar for a rock band called DUKES. And this is Lepas Sekolah.
Ryan, tell us about your early years. Where did you grow up? What kind of student you were back in high school?
Okay, so I pretty much grew up in KL all my life. I did spend a couple of years in Kelantan, but I was very young. I don't remember much. And in school, I would say I wasn't the best student. I was a bit carefree. I didn't take things seriously. I would say I had fun in high school, definitely.
You obviously seem to have an inclination towards the arts
Yeah.
with your work in Dukes and the fact that you're a law student. Were you always inclined towards the arts, or was there some parts of you that were interested in science? When did you figure this out when you were growing up?
Okay, so for me, ever since I was in school, I never liked subjects where you had to follow a formula. I like subjects where I could express my opinions. So I think naturally I was more inclined towards arts because I hated maths, I hated science. And in terms of arts, I was lucky enough to grow up in a family that appreciates music, various genres especially. So I think it all came naturally.
And in those years when you were in primary and secondary, what would you say were the most challenging parts and how do you overcome it?
I think the most challenging part is the expectations of a student. Especially in high school, I think I always thought that it was too serious. I think I was more inclined towards, I enjoyed sports, I enjoyed hanging out with my friends. I was lucky enough to have great friends in school. So I think the most challenging part is when the teachers expect something from me, something I feel like I'm not. And obviously at home also is the same. So I think the academic expectations that were expected of me were the most challenging parts.
How do you deal with those expectations?
I don't think I did, to be honest. One thing about me is I think I don't really like being told how to live my life, I think. So I didn't really bother with the expectations. I just did whatever I wanted to do. And luckily for me, with the support I had from my family and everything, I turned out all right.
Since you're studying law at the moment, what influenced your decision to study law? Was it something that you always wanted to do? Was it something that your family decided upon you, or did it just come naturally over time?
I think it came naturally for me because my family is very opinionated. We argue a lot, we debate a lot, we speak about global issues. Everything there's something on the news, we'll watch it together and we would discuss it together. So I think it came naturally for me. My brother also studies law. I have cousins who study law as well. My auntie has a law firm and stuff. So basically, I think it was natural for me, and it was definitely something that was not forced upon me. It was my own decision to study law.
You mentioned that you don't like living a rigid life. You like having autonomy over your own life, and this is anathema to what SPM is. SPM is all about
Yeah.
drilling in. It's all about having a structured, very disciplined way, single approach. So how did you prepare for SPM, and how do you end up doing for it?
After Form 3, after PT3, every student had to pick their streams, right? So basically, I already knew that I wasn't going to do anything related to science, related to maths. So I did take arts, I took economy, I did take ed maths though, I regret taking that. But basically, I knew what I wanted, I knew my limits. So I knew if I had to take physics, chemistry, biology, I wouldn't fare as well. I was interested in economy, so I think that helped me prepare for SPM. I wouldn't say I did the best preparation. I think I prepared probably like 2 weeks before, but the whole year I was doing well in my exams. I was doing well in my trials because I think I took the subjects I wanted. I would say, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be.
And what do you have to say to students who grow up perhaps in a family or in an environment, perhaps in school or anywhere, whereby doing humanities stream in SPM is considered to be second class?
Actually, after PT3, our best student, she actually ended up taking art streams instead of science. So I think that obviously shocked the teachers. In our school, it was still very stereotypical, whereby brilliant students end up taking science streams. But I think because of the fact that the best student did not end up taking science stream, everything just fell along like fine, because other students were like, okay, I can do whatever I want. And yeah, that's what I did as well. So yeah, thanks to her.
All right, so let's move on to your days in pre-university. You obviously did Asasi KPM at UiTM Dengkil.
Yeah.
Can you first of all explain what exactly is Asasi KPM,
Okay.
and can you then tell us why did you choose this path over anything else?
Alright, so basically Asasi is foundation in law. I had a few options, which is go through the UPU route, and then you can go through metrics or you can go through STPM. What influenced my decision was that foundation is only 1 year. I think STPM and metrics would be more. I knew I wanted to do law, and I knew that universities that have law courses are more likely to take students from foundations because especially in majority of our students are from UiTM Dengkil or MMU Foundation. There are a few from STPM and metrics, but very rare. So I think that really influenced my decision and also the duration of the course.
As you were about to apply for Asasi KPM, how do you find out about this course? How do you learn and educate yourself about what opportunities exist?
Yeah. Okay, so after I finished SPM, to be frank, I did not know much about anything. But luckily for me, I had siblings, I had parents who were basically telling me that I should apply for UPU because I did not want to do A levels. I had no intention to study abroad. So they told me, okay, just apply for UPU. And when I applied for UPU, I was quite lucky that I pretty much got all the options that I wanted. Science in UiTM, I got law in UiTM and everything. Knowing that I wanted to do law in Universiti Malaya, the best path for me was to take UiTM KPM because that option gives you the opportunity to go into other universities, if I'm not mistaken. There are two options, which is KPM and UiTM punya program. So basically, I knew that I wanted to go UM, and this was the best path for me, which is why I ended up taking UiTM Law KPM program.
What was your first impression of UiTM Dengkil?
For me, I was a COVID batch, so I spent my whole semester online, actually, my whole foundation, but I did spend about a month probably in UiTM Dengkil. Culturally speaking, it was not something that I enjoyed. For me personally, I don't think I was treated like an adult. I was still being treated, I still felt like I was in high school. And I definitely did not want to spend 4 years in that environment. But there are students who enjoy that culture, and I nothing against them, which is fine. But I just think it was not for me, and I'm glad that I was able to move on from that culture.
Now, speaking a bit more about your Asasi program, right?
Yeah.
What kind of subjects were you made to take? What was the structure? How was the grading system?
Okay, I think Asasi structure is very well done. It pretty much covered everything, the mere basics of everything that I was gonna learn in my degree. I didn't find it challenging because, like I said, it was the basics. But I must give it to ITM. I think it was a very well done course, and it definitely prepares the student in the right direction, moving up to their degree in law.
How was the transition from secondary school to Asasi? I know you mentioned that you felt like you were
Yeah.
treated still as a secondary school but student, but how was it?
I think the most obvious thing is you have more freedom in university.
Hmm.
I remember in high school, I've always been quite vocal about global issues, and I remember in high school, the teachers would always shut me down. I could not speak about politics. I could not even speak about anything that was going on in the world. I remember one time when I was Form 3, there was an essay about a person you admire and a person basically the opposite you don't admire. And the person I admire, I don't remember it was. I think it was Ronaldo, I think. And the person I did not admire, it was Donald Trump, actually. And she did not mark that part of my Donald Trump essay because she said that political issues should not be discussed in school, which I think was quite ridiculous.
Uh,
But the good thing was when I moved on to Asasi, there was definitely more freedom. You could discuss pretty much everything, which was quite shocked because I remember the first day being UiTM and everything. We actually discussed about LGBT rights in Malaysia, and I was quite shocked to find out that the answers quite diverse. So that was something that was eye opening for me, having dealt with my teachers in high school and then having such a broad and open discussion in Asasi.
Obviously, UiTM Dengkil brings people from all parts of the country, right?
Yes.
The question that I'm about to put forth to you is how competitive was it at UiTM Dengkil, and especially among students who want to do law at Universiti Malaya?
Well, I think it was very competitive because I remember I got a 4.0 for foundation. And I thought it
And
was a
that's the highest you can
yeah,
go,
and
right?
the highest you can get. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And just to find out that pretty much everybody got a 4.0. So I thought, okay, this is going to be tough. And yeah, I think having tutorials in Asasi, open discussions with other students, is very amazing to see that the younger generations actually have very sharp and brilliant minds.
You bring us perfectly into the next segment here because you mentioned there are many students who achieve 4.0 for
Yeah.
their Asasi program. What then is the determination for you to be able to get into Universiti Malaya? What was the application course?
I applied through UPU, and I must give it to them. The application was very easy. Basically, you log in on the day itself, and then you'll see the list of options you have, and then there will be I think 1 to 10 universities you need to apply for, and I put University Malaya as my first choice and my second choice as well. So I think the process was very easy. It's not rocket science, so I think anybody can do it. And yeah, props to whoever that prepared the UPU application. It was very well done.
There have been many criticisms over how UPU applications are done. And as you mentioned yourself, Universiti Malaya is obviously the top university in Malaysia. It's difficult to get into, and there are debate and controversy over how the process to enter the university happens. What are your thoughts on it?
When I was applying for UiTM, obviously there's a Bumi quota, right, which I benefited from. But when I was applying for University Malaya, it's not only from students from UPU. There's also students from MMU, so it was definitely more competitive. You have thousands of applicants, and I think the intake for University Malaya is less than 200 law. When you're applying for a very prestige university and a very prestige course, sometimes results is not the only thing that matters. You've already been offered University Malaya law, that means your result is excellent. So other factors come into play in determining whether you'll be accepted in or not. All right, so basically during the interview, I remember the interviewer telling me that what sets you apart from the other students? We know that you got a 4.0 in foundation, but let's be honest, everybody else pretty much got the same result. So what sets you apart? So just from that, I can tell that you need to ace your interview. You need to be different because universities, they also look at what you can give them, what they can get out of you. So I remember during my interview, I told them, well, I'll make music. I had a song at that time, and I had send it to labels, and then I had labels wanting to buy it from me. So then what I did was they told me to play a song. So during my interview,
And was this physical or?
yes, no, sorry, it was online. But during my law Universiti Malaya interview, I took the guitar and I played a song for them. And I guess that
It
was
sets you
something
apart, yeah.
memorable
Yeah.
because the interviewer remembered me. I met her again last year, and she still remembers the fact that I played guitar during my interview. And then moving on, now that I'm with Dukes and everything, I have every time I go radio interviews, I go on TV, they always speak highly about the fact that I study in Universiti Malaya. So I guess Universiti Malaya got something out of me as well. I guess I hope I elevated their name as well. So I think these are the factors that you need to consider, especially when applying for such course where everybody has excellent results.
Let's talk about the shift between obviously your COVID years in UiTM Dengkil and then to UM. Let's talk about the differences and how did you adapt in terms of the social environment, and I'm pretty sure in terms of the academic culture as well.
Right, I think Malaya was more diverse. It's not only open for Bumis, so it's more diverse, and oh my god, it's so competitive. I remember the first tutorial I had, I thought I was quite vocal, but the lecturers know me as a quiet one. And you hear things like these brilliant things that come out of the students, and I think it's a healthy environment, but you also need to be confident because it's so easy to feel like, oh, I'm the stupid one here. And that can really drag you down as well. Yeah.
What has studying law at UM, and you mentioned the competitiveness, taught you about your worldview?
I think in studying law in Malaysia in general, you have subjects such as human rights law, international law. So you definitely learn a lot about global issues because then you always have assignments where you're supposed to talk about global issues, and your lecturers will always tell you to try to talk about things that are current, parliamentary debates or anything that's going on in this world. That will always help you in your paper. Being in Universiti Malaya definitely managed to elevate my knowledge in global issues, but also in domestic issues as well. Because let's say Yesterday there was a bill in the parliament. We will always discuss it in UM the next day. I remember I had this one subject which was censorship in Malaysia. I think it was media censorship. And just a few weeks prior to that, there was a major amendment. I can't remember what it was, but I had a whole hour discussion about it in my lecture because for some reason I was the only one in the class that day. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I had a whole hour where I discussed about the amendment, the benefits, the pros and cons of it. So definitely being in Universiti Malaya, in my experience, elevated my knowledge in global and domestic issues.
As you mentioned, there are wide variety of legal topics and areas that you can go into. Which one would you say you're particularly interested in?
The one field I don't think I could do is criminal law. We learn criminal law cases like on a daily basis, and some of the things I've read is so gruesome. It makes me want to puke sometimes. So I'm a bit faint-hearted, so I don't think I can do that. Corporate law is just so much work. I feel so much paperwork, but again, that's with every single field of law. But the one field of law I particularly enjoyed is constitutional law. I had a great lecturer. I had a great tutor as well. So I enjoyed my discussions with my lecturers and my tutors. And when I did my internship at Shahid Kubaib and Co, Encik Shahid is also a constitutional lawyer. So we had great debates, we had great arguments about constitutional issues, and I think constitutional issues are bigger than life. It really affects our very way of life, and I guess that's something that excites me.
I think there was a remarkable picture, might have been about 4 years ago, when the Speaker of the Dewan Rakyat at the time, Ad Harun, current Deputy Prime Minister Fadilah Yusof, former Minister of Law Taqiyuddin Hassan, all of them studying in Universiti Malaya as students in the 80s or perhaps in the 90s. You are 6 out of 10 prime ministers. You have names, roads in Malaysia named after Universiti Malaya alumni. How does that make you feel being part of such an institution?
First of all, the pressure is immense, I think. Yeah, but I think it's a great school. The lectures are amazing, but I've rarely heard about the fact that University Malaya produces great students, produces great alumni. We actually don't really hear that. There's no pressure on you at all. I think they treat you with respect. You are your own person, and they obviously expect great things from you. But there has never been any sort of statements such as, "Oh, our prime minister from Muslim Malaya, you've got to do something like that. You've got to be great," but no such thing. So I think it's a healthy environment, great environment to be in, and I really encourage students who want to study law. You should try for Muslim Malaya. I think it's a great school.
So you're a founding member of Dukes, which is a band in Malaysia.
Yeah.
You're the lead guitarist with them. Which one is a passion project here? Is Dukes the passion project, or is your career in law a passion project?
I don't think my mom will like this, but I like music. Law was my passion before I found music. That's easy to put it up. If you would give me a choice, I would definitely want to have music as my career. But it's also nice to have a law degree. It's also nice to be a member of the bar, to be able to make change.
Now, I've heard some of your interviews with some of the major radio stations nationwide about Dukes, and one of the running jokes that I remember was that you're named after a highway.
Yeah.
So what actually is the story behind the name?
Yeah, the story is actually Duke started off in Universiti Malaya. Prior to that, I had a band. Not really a band. We were just jamming together. It was with Zia, our vocalist, and our ex drummer. So basically, in that band, there was three of us guys and one girl. So because of that, we named it Dukes and Duchesses. Dukes and Duchess, because there are three guys and one girl. And our ex drummer is always very, very British lah. Obviously, he wanted a British name, so we just gave it Dukes and Duchess. The actual members of Dukes now, when we met in Universiti Malaya, we just had a name Dukes, which we didn't even like at first, but we had to because we had a show coming very recently and we didn't have a name. So one of us was just like, you know what, the girl is not here anymore. Just remove the Duchess, so just became Dukes. Yeah.
Tell us about the formation of it. Yeah, you mentioned that obviously there were a few people involved. Were they all from University Malaya? How did it come? How did it evolve? Where are you guys today?
When I just got into UM, I was just following a bunch of mutuals from UM, and one of them was Umar, our bassist. He followed me, and I followed him back, and then I saw that he plays the guitar and everything. And I thought, okay, why not just have a jam together? Because I think in UM it's very common for our colleges, College Kediaman, to have annual performances. So I think it was KK5, College Kediaman 5, which Umar was in. They wanted a performance. So we just created a band for fun. Turns out that Jimbo, our current guitarist, also plays guitar. So I remember the day before the performance, there was like 8 people in the studio. There was like 5 guitarists, which was a joke. I ended up not playing for that show because I thought it was a joke having like 4 or 5 guitarists performing. So then after that, what happened was out of nowhere, we all just felt like, oh, let's just jam again. But this time, let's not have like 5 guitarists. So then me, Jimbo, and Umar came. Our ex drummer was also from UM. And then I told them, oh, I know my friend sings, Ziad. He was my friend from primary school. He sings, and he sings quite well. So why not just invite him? I'm pretty sure he'll be down. So that's what we did. And then 5 of us jammed, and we thought it was quite good. Yeah, it all pretty much started from there.
What kind of music do you grow up listening to?
I pretty much listened to whatever my parents played. My mom had a car. It was an old Mercedes car, and she had this one compact disc. It was a U2 best hit songs collection. And I remember the Mercedes having issues with the a slot, and you couldn't, once you put it in, you couldn't take it out. So basically, every time we rode on that Mercedes, basically U2 played. My brother had a guitar, and he left it at home, and I played it, and I thought, wow, this was so much fun. The girls were like this, I think. Yeah, from then I just built upon the songs that I already knew. I ventured into other British bands, and that really shaped my influence on music.
Did it shape Duke's music view as well?
Depends. If I write it, then probably. But the thing with Dukes is there's 5 of us and we all write. The others pretty much influenced by the Beatles. I don't think we really stay away so far from each other in terms of musical influence. When someone has a song, let's for example, I have a song and I show it to them, we all together put our elements into it. It just sounds like us, I guess.
How do you balance what you do in Universiti Malaya and what you do with Dukes?
Not sure I do actually. You need to know your limits. I do music because I'm passionate about it. I'm not forced to do it. I got on my own way to do it. So when you have something like that, I think you don't really think of it as a burden. I play music to get my mind off things. Problem with local universities, I think public universities as well, is the amount of courses and subjects we take each semester is, for me, is ridiculous. For example, I once ended up taking 9, and you have tutorials. So imagine having 18 classes in a week. And I think that really needs to be addressed. But the way I balanced it is shows are usually on weekends. So that's not really an issue. Every time I get assignment, I try to do it as fast as possible. The only issue is when we go into radios, we go into televisions, because those are always on weekdays. I try to communicate with my tutors. If I cannot make it, I try to replace it. At the end of the day, I'm making money out of this as well. So I have no problem telling my tutors, look, I also have something on the side, and it's really, they'll understand definitely. Sometimes you also need to sacrifice also lah. If you cannot attend this class, then you're gonna be ready to face the consequences lah.
What's the dream for Dukes? Where do you see yourself, let's say, in 5 years?
Obviously, the dream is to be as big as possible, to play as many shows as possible, to make as much money as possible as well, to make it a career, to make it a lifetime thing. Sometimes you gotta be realistic as well. Sometimes it's a stroke of luck. People always say, oh, don't give up, don't give up. But there's also a saying that just because you don't give up doesn't mean you'll make it. So I think that is something that's always on the back of my mind sometimes. But I think we've been progressing well, definitely from the 2 years we've been together. It's getting better each day. Definitely not where we want to be yet, but music is just like business. Kalau orang Melayu cakap, tak ada skim cepat kaya lah. It's not something, a Rome was not built in a day. It's not something that is straight boom. If that happens, then it's a stroke of luck. You got to be patient. You need to have a proper plan. You need to be consistent, which is something we're trying to do, and we're seeing results. But we definitely also, we ourselves also need to put in more effort, elevate it to the next level if we really want to make this a whole career. Yeah.
What do you think of the music industry in Malaysia, and how is Dukes navigating it?
It's like the music industry is the establishment, and we're the people.
Okay.
So it's easy to always be anti-establishment, But at the end of the day, we're trying to make a living here, We know our place. We're not gonna get the biggest shows if we cannot bring the revenue back to them. So it's something to be realistic. I think the industry is great. There's some great people out there. There will be people you disagree with, but again, at the end of the day, I think it's common. I think you'll get the same answer from anyone else all over the world about the music industry. So it's not something I particularly like, but again, that's the reality of it. Yeah.
What's, in your opinion, the best song that Dukes has put out there?
How I measure the best song is if I like listening to it. Our latest release, Bila Kau Datang Menangis, I think is a great song. We worked with a great producer as well, Taja from Meet Uncle Hussein, genius. The guy is crazy, man. The song that is personal to me is Fell in Love with the Girl in Bristol because I wrote it as well. And it's about my experience. Bila Kau Datang Menangis, I wrote it, but then it's more about something fictional I create in my head. It's not real. But I think Fell in Love with the Girl in Bristol is really a true artist song, I think. It used to mean more to me, but now it's just a song. I think that happens with every single artist as well. It's just a song now, but when I look back into it, I really wrote it purely from the heart. I'm not sure if it's the best, but it's definitely the most significant to me.
What advice would you have for students who, first of all, want to make it to a great university, and second is when it comes to choosing between what you have and something that you're passionate about, how do you come to choose between one and the other?
For the first part of it, I think you've got to be able to adapt. Very often in life, things don't really go your way. You can prepare your whole life for something and it just doesn't go your way. But you gotta be able to adapt with what you have. It's not the end of the world if you don't get into the university of your choice. I was lucky enough. I got into the university I wanted, but I really risked everything for it. In my UPU, first choice I put Law, but I wanted Universiti Malaya more than I wanted law. So second choice I put Universiti Malaya again, and it wasn't even law. Only the third choice I put law. I was willing to give up on law as long as I got into Universiti Malaya. But yeah, I was lucky enough that I got into the university I wanted. So I think the advice I have for you is, I think put your course first rather than your university first. At the end of the day, you're studying law for the sake of studying law. It doesn't really matter where you study. There might be pros and cons of each university, but at the end of the day, it's about you and it's about your course. It might shape your future, but again, when you put your heart and mind to something, you can get whatever you want. So you only live once. So I try to do everything I can. Even in high school, I played every single sport. I just did whatever I wanted to do. And but with music, it's really a feeling I cannot describe when I play music. It's something everyone has their own passion, and I think music is really something I'm very passionate about. I was very passionate about law as well. I was so happy that I was doing law, and I still am happy that I'm doing law. So music makes me happy. Law is something I'm proud of. Maybe my opinions will change when I'm having a family of my own. I have to provide for my family, and money comes first. But where I am now, I'm still studying, so I'm really trying to make the best out of everything, out of the opportunities I have now that has been given to me. I aspire to not regret anything. I think at the end of the day, you will decide what you think is best for you. I don't think I can really have a say because everyone is different. But in my experience, I just decided to do both. I am pursuing my music career. I never did not bother about my studies. I still prioritized it. I think if you're able to find that perfect balance in the middle, you can pretty much say that you're doing everything that you like. So I don't know if I'm in the right path, but I hope I am.
Can you describe your journey Lepas Sekolah in 3 words?
It was great. Yeah, I think Lepas Sekolah is very, let me just go beyond 3 words. I think Lepas Sekolah is very something that is very useful because I knew as a student, I would have definitely benefited from it because I was not exposed, like I said, I wasn't really serious in school, so I was not exposed to all these journeys that would have been available to me. It is something that is very beneficial and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And if one wants to find Dukes, where can they find Dukes?
Pretty much anywhere, I think. You can find Dukes on Spotify, all digital streaming platforms, on YouTube, and you can follow us on Instagram at dukes.my, on TikTok as well. That is where we announce everything, our upcoming shows, upcoming releases. And yeah, I really hope if you're interested, you can come down to one of our shows. And yeah, then it's up to you, man, if you want to listen to our song or not. I hope you do. My name is Ryan, and this is my journey Lepas Sekolah.